Yes, we're back, and it's still the Bumper Breakfast Show. An interesting conversation we had with Mr. Taiwo Oladipupo. Mr. Akefatuke is still back here with us. Mr. Fatuke is a communications specialist, he's an accountant, and of course a public affairs analyst. I like to discuss certain issues with him, especially this one that we are discussing right now. ASUU and the federal government talks has suffered another setback. I had a conversation, Mr. Fatuke, welcome back, first of all.
Thank you very much. Nice to be back.
I must acknowledge the fact that you told me a story about what happened to you on the roads yesterday. So in like one sentence, I would like you to address what would likely happen if we don't, if in 1 minute, what will likely happen if we don't get the security forces back on the road?
Well, I want to say, Toby, on a very serious note, security is everybody's business. The truth of the matter is that in the short term, we have to be responsible for our security. A young lady was attacked yesterday, and you know what happened? Everybody just fled.
Where?
Okay, well, this is around Ijesha end, on my way to Solo.
Ijesha is where is Solo?
Ijesha Road.
Ijesha Road, okay.
I wanted to take Ijesha Road so that we go and take the bridge, the other bridge, the Okota Bridge. We were static for more than 1.5 hours, move a little bit for another 30 or 40 minutes. So these guys came and started breaking glasses. So the lessons learned there is the fact that I don't think we should all get into this panic. Anytime we hear whatever it is, let's all of us come out.
Yeah.
Because what eventually happened, there was a hotel not too far. They knew this kind of thing had been happening. So those guys just came out and then they took to their heels. So if you don't get a security architecture right, if we don't get our police to be encouraged to come back, and really encouraged to come back, if right from the top to the states and the local governments, we all just don't look one another in the face and say, yes, on all our locations, we are going to make sure we earmark to rebuild those police stations, to get back their armory, and not forgive the police. Yes, the SARS had wronged us, we agree. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But we can't cut our nose to spite our face. So we need to get that very, very importantly done. We need to get the Amotekuns
Stronger.
and in the other regions of Nigeria.
If I may even ask,
We need to make
we have
sure
Amotekun in Lagos?
Not yet.
policing is put
Community
down.
policing.
Excuse me, please.
Yes, today they'll be talking about community policing, but I think we need to walk the talk, do it right here like yesterday, and unless we do that, I'm afraid.
We're heading for. Let's go back to the conversation now this morning.
Actually, I
ASUU
would have loved to
proposed.
talk about this because this is about us.
Very true.
Because I'm not safe. No, me, I'm scared.
We're
You
not
know
safe.
me.
We're not safe.
You're not safe. You're not safe.
We're not locking you. We're locking you in the office, actually.
One thing that is going to make you safe, Tessie,
Okay.
please take this from me. Security is everybody's business, you inclusive.
Yeah.
When you see something, say something. If you see something happening to some other person, our penchant to say, well, it's not happening to me, and so I think
Must
I'm
be
out of the
dealt
woods. We must now see it as a community thing. Wherever you live, to me, where I live, please, let's take active participation in our CDA, Landlords, Tenants Association.
Yeah.
It's not always about money, but we can all put ideas. And one of the things I do once in a week, I just go in my short knicker about
The street.
to 11, go and see
11 p.m.
Yes, just walk on our street to see how our guards are doing, encourage them. Sometimes I've caught on a number of occasions natural snoring. Then it got struck. It's okay. What do you do during the daytime? Cut it a little bit down. After all, we are paying you. We care for you. You know, you want a bottle of Coke? take water of hook, and then he is that what
enthusiastic again about
is that not what the NSAS youths
We're asking
are
for.
deploying? So that's what we expect to be deployed from top
down to the bottom. But let's talk about
Thank you.
ASU this morning. IPPIS is what the federal government proposed. No, not proposed. Imposed. Like the private sector will say, everybody go and register with the HR. If you don't register with the HR in the
Then
next
you will get your
24 hours,
salary.
you're going to
Get
get a
your pay.
query and all of that. But that happens. And IPPIS came. Some lecturers went on it when they saw the federal government's body language. But ASU proposed to UTAS. Now NASU, SANU are rejecting ASU's UTAS and are proposing their own payment platform. Is this good for our country? Is it normal?
A university that has been shut down since March.
on some larger scale. Perhaps is what we are going to be looking at when we talk about restructuring, which we all want. So we can restructure down to our pants. And yet when it gets there, if the attitude and the mind, if leadership is not done the way it should be done, we'll get back to square zero. I'm not surprised. As a matter of fact, to be very frank with you, I saw this coming, and I saw it coming from the recent example of Dr. Wale Babalakin, Professor Ogundipe Unilag, and where the ASU are going at a particular direction, and then these other unions, maybe we were not listening loud enough. They were also making the point that yes, we support that we need a change. Why do you need a change? Because we feel that ASU were monopolizing certain things to the detriment of the non-academic staff union. Same we have with our medical guild. The doctors are being taken care of.
And the nurses and
the ancillary services are saying, why is it always that you always think of the doctors?
More.
Because without the neck, the head cannot move nowhere. I sympathize with ASU and have made that point clear in my various conversations. I say, and it should be on record delineated, it is the height of irresponsibility, Tessie, me, you, to decide on our own with our eyes wide open that we are either going to adopt children or we are going to have many children. So if you had 4 and then you make it a point on your own that yes, I want twins, you have girls, now I want boys. The responsibility is for you to ensure that when they come, begin to think of your own lifespan. So don't just bring these children to the world and then just throw them out to the dogs. Since 2003, the federal government has always observed in which a lot of agreement that has been done with ASU. And rather than at least move towards ameliorating that, everybody now started creating state universities. How do you go ahead just because for political correctness and what have you, you've not taken care of the main ones? They've been underfunded. And then, okay, I must have my own university. If I'm governor, I must have my own. I must have my own in my village.
I can't take care of all of them.
It has now led to a situation where the appetite is large and the capacity to be able to feed is dwindled. Worst case is the fact that they see you enjoying a lot of largesse and fatness while you are paying lip service to education. That's it. You heard what I said? Be responsible on the part of the federal government that they've not been able to give education the pride and premium that we expect. So we agree on that. So having said that, let's get back to here and now. I always make the point that yes, the next best time is looking at a bottle as half full rather than half empty. Yes, corruption has eaten us deep, You've made your point up to a certain stage. If you look at the Babala King thing that I also mentioned, one of the things that came out of the fact is that are the university funding being audited? Okay, whatever little that has been given to you, just like you say, you give resource control to certain people at 30% or whatever it is. The little that you have been given, how have you been able to account for it? If we see it in the show of shame that you see in NDDC, and you are still asking for extra, yeah, okay, it's all right to ask for it, but then
it is our prerogative to give it to you.
You've not done well with the one talent that you've been given, and before you ask for 5. Now the students have been home for 7 months, going to 8 months. The universities, I mentioned it clearly, this is perhaps the time to run away so that you can fight another day. Because if we are not careful with what we saw in the good and the bad of the EndSARS, students who have been indoors
for so long a time,
the young girls are not being raped, are not having, unplanned pregnancies. What really is happening is the fact that something has been done. 30 billion has been proposed, and federal government said it's for everybody, and you said no, it has to wait for ASUU alone. You need to be very careful there. Yes, it is your right, but you need to be very careful. And the federal government has said that we don't have enough funds. Yeah, federal government can also say we don't have enough funds. But I like to say to same federal government, the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and you have to do it by force. People have been saying that it's only when you force. The medical doctors during the COVID thing, it was by force before government was able to do certain things. And they are saying they are asking for about 100+ billion. Who says government cannot afford that? If you put our minds to it, if you if you cut all the fats, if you cut all the humbugs, if you cut all the cans that surround our governance, yes, it can be done.
Mr. Fasuke,
because that has not been done,
bring this conversation.
We need to make sure place we played with the university lecturers. You've taken some steps. We've heard you loud and clear, like Buhari has said. Please get back to the classrooms for the sake of these children.
Yeah.
I need to take one last statement from you in 30 seconds, Mr. Fasuke. Should the federal government accept UTAS or insist they go on IPPIS?
Nice question, Tobisi. Nice question.
30 seconds. I need to go.
First second, we say that I mentioned it to Professor Guyemi. If you are going to reject something for whatever reason, bring out yours.
Okay.
You brought the
UTAS.
The UTAS is homegrown. I love it, local content. But it's not been as tested as the IPPIS. Okay. That does not necessarily make it wrong.
Not good enough.
Now, if you have brought that, and they are actually saying that no, until we test and what have you, get back to the classroom, go and prove, find a way to prove. That is what we call in strategy management of change. So you can put it pari passu, but to now then say ours or nothing. The impression is now being created that you want your own.
You want to cut corners, and that's my own personal impression, actually, because from where I come from in the private sector, it is he who pays the piper dictates the tune. As much as the federal government should give us what they need to make education in Nigeria better and worth it, and also the federal government will need to pay more attention to SANU, to NASU, to the ASU, to the ASUCO, and the rest of the ASUs should please go back to the classroom. They should please. Any child, any student in Nigeria who graduates after 24 testing is not likely to get a job.
Remember to add the fact that we still have COVID.
Of course.
The palliatives have been looted. There's a fear that there could be another wave.
I was about to use your face mask. You would not sign up.
And the revenue that is coming to government, more than half of it is stolen and wasted. Remaining half, this is now the time for us to
manage it.
might be behind this good youth. And
I need to go. Mr. Fatuke, thanks for joining us this morning. Teresa Adeyemi is our name. My name is Tomi.
My name is Teresa Adeyemi. Don't introduce me. Why you introducing me for me? All right, it's about bye for breakfast this morning. Bye bye.
We'll see you tomorrow.